Coming up on Small Town Big Deal, a small town that hit it big.
Oh, wow, look at him, look at him. Whoa!
And a town that counts its squirrels before resting on its laurels.
Plus, radio host, author, gifted artist, and public speaker.
How Joni Eareckson Tada's life paints a picture of her journey from despair to greatness.
Welcome to Big Things Small Town. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Rodney, the name of our show is Small Town Big Deal.
Yeah, I know, but we're in Casey, Illinois. And around here, folks say it's a small town with big things.
In Casey, Illinois, if there's one thing that rings true, size really matters.
It's the world's largest collection of the world's largest objects in one small town. Casey, with a population of 2,700, is in southern Illinois. It's just about the midpoint between Indianapolis and St. Louis.
This is a cool pencil.
It's just a big thing in a small town.
Yeah.
Meet Jim Boland. He's a man with a supersized love for his hometown and some larger-than-life ideas.
Thanks to Jim, Casey is home to some of the world's largest things, many of which have earned a place in the Guinness Book of World Records.
The town's streets and shops teem with curious onlookers from all over to the tune of 2,000 a week. But it wasn't always like this.
In 2011, you could count the stores on probably one hand.
Wow.
That were open?
That were open downtown.
Back then, many of the industries that kept KZ going closed or moved away.
So Jim wondered what he could do to make KZ stand out.
I said, let's think outside the box. Let's try to think of something that would help bring people to KZ. And I was listening to my wind chimes one evening. I wonder what the world's largest wind chime is.
Because everybody just wonders that.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and the longest tube on the world's largest wind chime at that point in time was 27 feet.
Finding the tubing to beat a 27-foot record-holding wind chime would actually be a breeze. That's because Jim's family business is a pipeline maintenance company.
It took nearly 2 years of planning and construction, but they broke the record at 42 feet.
So if you just barely pull on it.
That's neat.
That's very cool.
The wind chime got lots of attention from out-of-towners, so Jim was inspired to make more big things, hoping to drive additional traffic to KZ.
Like this giant rocking chair at 56 feet high and more than 46,000 pounds. It's the world's largest.
It also took nearly 2 years to complete.
And it'll rock your world.
The rocking chair is actually built out of all used old pipeline pipe. And the wood on all of our projects are actually, in their former life, was telephone poles.
Just the seat of the rocking chair is the size of an average two-car garage.
A visit to KZ can be like jumping into Jonathan Swift's 18th century novel, Gulliver's Travels.
Mixed with Jim's 21st century sense of humor.
This used to be a garage door overhead spring.
Oh, for
so I thought,
heaven's sake.
wow, that looks like an old mousetrap spring. So that broken spring is what sparked this idea. I had an old tree behind my house that died. We built this head out of persimmon wood, laminated it, and the handle is actually an old light pole from the city.
Oh.
It's an aluminum light pole that we polished to make it look like chrome.
Yeah. Now that's a stroke of genius.
When the flag goes up on the world's largest mailbox,
It's time for a mail pickup.
and that inspires us to write.
You know who I'm sending mine to? One of our longest and most loyal fans,
Tracy Hancock.
Tracy Hancock. Big shout out to you there in Tennessee.
You're getting a postcard. Mine is to my mom. Okay, here you go, Mom.
Here you go, Tracy.
So we've all heard of wishing wells. Well, here in Casey, it's the wishing wooden shoes. So make a wish, throw in your money. All the money that's collected in the wooden shoes goes to the Casey Food Pantry. I'd say these shoes are the soul of the town.
The construction and installation of all these big things are financed by Jim's family business. He's a humble, devout man who is very determined to keep his town vibrant.
Casey's been a really good town for our family, and we've been blessed over the years, and it's just a way to give back. If you look at all the world's largest things, you'll see faith-based scriptures on them.
Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart.
And the biggest thing in town might just be Jim Boland's heart.
Oh, there's one, there's one.
Still ahead?
Oh, there's a squirrel.
We're making sense of a town's yearly squirrel census.
There's another white squirrel right there.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
After seeing big things in KZ, we're off to another town less than an hour away that prides itself on things small.
When you first come to Olney, Illinois, it seems just like many other small Midwestern towns.
But if you stick around for a little while, you'll discover why it's not.
Almost no matter where you go, you can say, we're from Olney, the home of the white squirrels.
Those are indeed white squirrels, and they're all around town.
Hey guys, breakfast time.
And if these unique squirrels of Olney could talk, they would tell you that their champion is Belinda Henton.
Do they call you the squirrel lady?
Yes, they definitely do.
Belinda's been volunteering to rehabilitate these special squirrels for 25 years.
This is Rocky Dale. He came to me with a large knot on his head.
Oh.
And as a result, he runs in circles. He needs me to keep him safe for right now.
Belinda has a permit from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. She returns the rehabilitated squirrels to the wild.
Do all of them get this friendly with you?
No, not all. Not all. Ready for this?
Sure. It's kind of like a little massage. It's actually kind of lovely. Yeah.
I'm a little worried she might want to take this one home.
Belinda is happy to give out-of-town guests like us a little VIP access to their rare local celebrities.
Chamber of Commerce will call me and say, hey, I've got somebody, they want to see a squirrel. Can they come to your house? It's like, sure. We do have neighborhoods that they really take care of their white squirrels, and you'll see 30 in one yard.
Olney's been able to capitalize on this good fortune thanks to a genetic twist of fate.
So they are actually a gray squirrel, but they have albino genes.
But why are they here? Well, there are theories about people raising albino squirrels in the area in the very early 1900s and setting them free.
Today, they have become important town ambassadors. The proof is in the strict squirrel ordinances in place, some with fines up to $750.
The city of Olney gives the right-of-way to squirrels on all streets, all thoroughfares, and all sidewalks. The city of Olney prohibits the removal of any white squirrels from the city. Preservation by taxidermy requires proper authorization by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources.
But there are some concerns that an ordinance cannot help alleviate. Their light color makes them easier targets for predators.
And for decades, the albino gray squirrels have mated with the more abundant regular gray squirrels.
If a regular gray squirrel mates with an albino one and doesn't have the recessive gene, all of their offspring will be gray, not albino.
And the whites are kind of being screened out. And it's called genetic drift. It's another way of interpreting it. So we're concerned about them. We used to have a ratio of 3 to 1. Now it's 19 to 1.
Yep, there's one right up there.
To keep tabs on the squirrel population, special squirrel census takers hit the streets of Olney every October. It's probably the only place on Earth where once a year, all squirrels get the chance to stand up and be counted.
Richard Gordon and his granddaughter Carly are two of the 131 volunteers counting squirrels this year.
We've found a lot of grays, but we've got 2 whites so far.
This is the first time I'm sure either one of us has participated in a squirrel count.
Yeah.
Armed with official census forms, we're joining in the count, documenting how many gray, red, or albino squirrels we see and where.
Wow, look at him, look at him. Whoa!
The fate of all these white squirrels is at stake, making this serious business.
This is harder than I thought. So what color is that one? That one that was on the telephone
You know,
line?
think about it, they might both be gray squirrels. Oh, there's a nest.
We're also tasked with counting their nest and any unleashed cats and dogs.
A free-range feline like this could subject its owner to hefty fines if it drags in a white squirrel.
There's a white squirrel. Wow, look at it.
Oh, there's a squirrel.
Soon, squirrels start finding us.
Okay, there's another one.
Oh, there's one, there's one.
Perhaps they sense that we're just a little bit nuts. Yeah, I went there.
Now we get to turn them in.
How'd you do out there?
We did good.
Did you see any white squirrels
We
today?
saw
Two.
2? That counts. We'll take it.
So how does the town really rally behind your white squirrels?
Well, this is our claim to fame. You know, we are a smaller community in rural Illinois, and it's something that we're proud of because it brings people to us.
And Olney is doing what it must to protect its most cherished citizenry.
Because if we don't protect them, take care of them, try to encourage more populations, we're not going to have them forever.
Coming up, hope in the midst of depression.
How one very special woman overcame unbelievable odds to enrich the lives of people all around the globe.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal. It's not every day you get to meet one of your heroes. I recently got to meet one of mine, a remarkable woman I learned about in my early 20s. There was even a movie made about her, and she played herself on screen.
Okay, down here.
Meet Joni Eareckson Tada. She's an author, radio host, gifted artist, and public speaker. She is also the founder and CEO of Joni and Friends, a highly respected international organization. She's advised presidents and shared the stage with Billy Graham.
But she never envisioned any of that for herself after that tragic day.
I took a very stupid dive into some very shallow water, and immediately my head hit the bottom and snapped my head back, crunching my neck and severing my spinal cord at the 4th cervical level.
After learning she would never walk again, nor have the use of her hands, Joni fell into a deep depression.
I remember lying in the hospital trying to wrench my head back and forth to maybe kill myself and end it all.
Joni says after finally facing her new reality, she needed help from the highest power.
I said, God, if I can't die, you're going to have to show me how to live. He gave me a vision for myself every day, slowly letting hope rise in my heart. Depression slowly dissipating like a fog, and day by day, life began to change.
Some of that change was delivered through art. Joni had drawn as a child, so her occupational therapist challenged her to sketch by holding a pencil between her teeth.
Initially, she spit it out, telling herself only handicapped people did that. But she eventually tried and began to understand the talent wasn't in her hands or wrist, it was in her heart.
Early artwork included a self-portrait revealing her despair soon after the accident, but it became a means of healing and an expression of her hope and ministry.
I want to reach down and find within me as many gifts that there are that are hidden, because if I can draw something that will show other people how I rose above my circumstances, maybe it'll help them rise above their circumstances.
Joni was invited to share her artwork and tell her story on the Today Show. Soon, a publisher approached her about writing a book.
Billy Graham's wife, Ruth, was deeply touched by Joni's book, and soon Billy Graham Worldwide Pictures made a movie based on her story.
Joni began receiving letters from disabled people from all across the globe.
And I'm thinking, okay, I've got to be a good steward. Of all these letters, of all this response, this international notoriety, this is a gift. How do I steward it well? And that's when Joni and Friends started.
Headquartered in Agora Hills, California, about 35 miles west of downtown Los Angeles, Joni and Friends has positively impacted millions of people worldwide over the past 40 years.
The organization is made up of different ministries that train, disciple, and mentor people affected by disability. They also work through education and policy to improve the worldview on disability.
But Joni has not been on this journey alone. Joni and Ken Tada married in 1982. While theirs is an amazing love story, they'll be the first to admit it hasn't always been easy.
Ken and Joni say the key to the success of their life together is how their faith has strengthened their marriage and being able to lean on one another for strength.
She symbolizes to me what it is to love Jesus in a way that, she trusts in him. Sometimes I have a hard time, but I go to her and she kind of gives me inspiration.
Just to have somebody else envision strength for you when you lack it yourself, it's almost like borrowing their faith.
After a long career as a teacher and football coach, Ken now serves as Director of Ministry for Joni and Friends and goes on the Wheels for the World outreach trips. They've delivered 186,000 wheelchairs in developing countries.
And those wheelchairs provide much more than mobility. They're giving the gift of hope for the future. Joslene's story is the perfect example.
It moves your heart when you see a teenager with cerebral palsy be brought to a wheelchair distribution in a wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrows are for dirt, not people. And to lift that young person out of that wheelbarrow and give them a chair that enables them to sit up with dignity and respect, it makes all the difference in the world.
In addition to her role as CEO of Joni and Friends, Joni has also served on the National Council on Disability and the Disability Advisory Committee. She's received countless awards for her work as an advocate for the disabled.
This is perfect.
But even with the notoriety and accolades, Joni's dream and purpose remains as humble as they come, to change the way people view disabilities while also sharing the love and hope of our Savior.
Bright shining as the sun. And I look back 52 years ago when I was that 17-year-old that broke my neck. Never did I imagine that God would use me in such a way, because it opened up my vistas to a whole world of people with disabilities that we want to share practical help and spiritual hope. And it's the joy of our lives, right, Ken?
Absolutely.
And not just do it here in the States, but do it in developing nations. That's where my heart is, to go where the kingdom is at its weakest and the world is at its darkest, and bring strength to the kingdom and bring light to that dark world.
To learn more about Joni and Friends, make a donation, or to donate a wheelchair that is no longer needed, you can visit joniandfriends.org. We'll be right back.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Small Town Big Deal.
You know, we really didn't set out to have a theme, but it turned out to be one. Sort of preservation and revitalization.
Every town needs a Jim Boland, that's for sure.
And when it comes to preserving things, the white squirrels of Olney, Illinois really count on their human counterparts there for protection. And Joni Eareckson Tada, how can we possibly say enough?
She is the most inspirational person I've ever met. So caring and so filled with faith. She is indeed a blessing.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you will follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl.
Join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America.
So I'm thinking it probably looks like we're in jail. But we're not. What are we doing?
Just a swinging.
In a bird cage in Casey, Illinois. Well, when I was a kid, if you misbehaved, you got hit with the yardstick. I'm glad it wasn't this one.
I feel like, I don't know, some kind of squirrel scientist this morning.
So white squirrels are highly treasured, kind of like my hair.
Who knew?